Welcome back. It's the very beginning of March, and as a result of it being the very beginning of March, we are now at the end of the breeding season with these guys. So Eve has now passed her peak fertile period, and Meg has passed her peak fertile period. So Meg's had her first season this year. She's 2 years old, coming up 2 years old. And now that the peak of that fertility has passed, so estrus has passed, I've been able to reintroduce Eve and Meg to Gambit, because we're now past the time that puppies can be made. So Eve and Meg are both still in season, but they are now in diestrus, which is basically it all coming back to normal at the moment. Their ovulation has done, and they are very unlikely to get pregnant during this time. And being what they are, extremely unlikely to get pregnant during this time. Nonetheless, Eve is still bonking Gambit, but Gambit is not bonking Eve, and that's the important thing. These guys are so funny. What I thought I'd do is let you see what reintroduction of a bonded pair with their adult daughter looks like. So there's an awful lot going on in terms of their dynamic, and I'm going to talk you through it. So we've literally been back together about 10 minutes. What is happening here is Gambit is trying to reassert his authority over these rowdy women. Now, realistically, not sure how much authority he really has over these rowdy women, but you know, in his head he likes to think that there's some. So all this grumbling and noise, partly excitement to be honest, and also hi guys, partly hello Meg, thank you, she's very sweet. Also partly a little bit of dominance at play. Meg is kissing my face, so you probably can't hear me. But I wanted to also bring these three together because, he's having a little sniff. I will stop him if anything should come of it. Also wanted to talk to you guys about winter wolf syndrome. Let's leave it there, and I'll start from the beginning. So what is winter wolf syndrome? Basically, it's some slang that has been given to wolf dogs in particular for what is commonly known amongst all other dogs as seasonal behaviour changes. And it gets that name not only because of the time of year, the season, but also the reference to a female's heat cycle, which Meg has just finished, as being a season. A female has a season that brings her into heat, which is all the layman's terms for being fertile, for ovulation and for fertility and for being ready to breed. And we call that in regular dogs seasonal behaviour changes, because with that change in their physical state, in their hormones, we also get a slight change in their behaviour. So in wolf dogs, that's referred to as winter wolf syndrome. And the reason why it gets given the term winter is because these guys come into season at the end of winter every year, which is kind of now, February and March. And it means that the girls come into their heat, into their season, and the boys, their testicles become more enlarged. They get sort of fueled by testosterone. They get a surge in testosterone during the winter, and that increases the size of their testicles. Now, that obviously surge in testosterone can change their behaviour slightly as well. The same for the girls. They get a surge of estrogen, and that can change their behaviour slightly. So what behaviours would that actually change in a dog, and what would it change in a wolf dog? So in a male, testosterone can make a man more confident. And so in Gambit, for example, he can become much more self-confident in the winter, and that means that he is actually better with novelty in the winter, and it means that he's more likely to want to fuss, to have a belly rub from a total stranger in the winter than he would be in the summer, because he doesn't have as much testosterone. So he's more confident in the winter. He's also, as you can see, trying to assert, I say the word trying because he's got his girlfriend and his daughter there. He's trying to assert some more dominance over the other dogs. So he is more assertive. He's more assertive with the other dogs, and he's more confident with novelty and with strangers. In terms of how his behaviour changes with his family, i.e. the human side of his family, Gambit doesn't have any behavioural changes. He is still a sweetheart, he still loves a belly rub, he is not at all aggressive in any way during the winter. What you're seeing now is not aggression, it is simply him trying to get some semblance of order with these two ladies who are his daughter and his girlfriend. I don't know if you can see whose girlfriend, Megley? Oh, Megley. I don't know if anyone can see us. You're licking my glasses now. Oh my goodness. So he doesn't change with me or with and it doesn't change with me or with Andy. Oh my god. In this Meg life. Are we there? Can you see me? In the slightest. Eve, we'll talk about next. Decided she very much wants to be a part of this film, so that's okay. So how do the girls change in the winter? So as you can probably tell from this video, the girls get much more affectionate because they are being fueled by estrogen, and that, as I'm sure most of you know, is the hormone that makes us women more soft in our nature, and therefore more caring, maternal, should we say. And it gives us a very strong need to feel affection and to feel loved, and therefore you get a boost of that in your dog when they are coming into season or they've just been in season. So Meg here has just been in season. She is determined to be as close to me as she can. So she's way more affectionate at this time of year. Same? Oh my. The same applies to Eve at this time of year. She's also much more affectionate with me and with Meg and with everyone else. As you can see, she's doing lots of appeasement gestures and trying to be the centre of attention. Meg. And being really, oh my goodness, being really super sweet, super affectionate. Meg, no one can see anything. Oh my god. So this is, guys, I'm so sorry, but this is what I mean. Just swamped, absolutely swamped. God, I can put my glasses back on. Swamped with kisses because they're feeling all the feels. All right, they're feeling very emotional and very needy and need to feel loved, so they're feeling all the feels, and I'm getting absolutely bathed with kisses and licks. What's happening when people report that their dog, wolf dog, is becoming more aggressive in the winter? I think two things. First of all, the bloodline and the type of wolf dog can make a lot of difference, because just like any behavioural trait, whether it be their drive, working drives, prey drives, need to please, biddability, general levels of affection. You know, they're all different breed to breed, dog to dog. And the same applies with these guys, with wolf dogs. And so therefore the intensity of those feels during the winter, bloodline to bloodline and type of wolf dog to type of wolf dog, will differ and will vary. So those that are more wolf in their ancestry may have more intense feelings, and they don't come a lot more wolf in their ancestry than these three guys here. So there is obviously variance then also, not just between how much wolf they have in their ancestry, but in their bloodlines and what their purpose of breeding has historically been. Hi. So with these guys, historically, these guys have been bred for multiple generations to be pets for the most part, and secondly, to work in an industry which requires them to look very like a wolf, but not particularly act like one. And ultimately, these particular breeders of both Eve and Gambit, who are separate, different people in different parts of America, but they have both been very successful at doing that. Therefore, there isn't really any badness in their... Yes, thank you for showing me your butt. There isn't really any badness in their seasonal behaviour changes. In fact, there's a lot of positives that come out of their seasonal behaviour changes. Like this, for example, Eve being super duper affectionate, Meg being super duper affectionate, and Gambit being more confident around novelty and strangers than he usually is. So for us, we're super lucky. We're not just lucky, we obviously also chose these particular bloodlines in part for those reasons, but we're also super lucky with the actual individuals that we have, in that they don't have what we would necessarily call negative seasonal behaviour changes. Some people have experienced more negative behavioural changes, and that comes from the testosterone in the boys, making them feel more like they can take on the world, Jack the lads. And in the girls, that affection can, if it's unchecked, perhaps bubble over into something else. They can become quite possessive with that affection. I don't have that issue. As you can see, I'm out here today. It's the very end of February with three dogs with quite a lot of wolf ancestry, and my relationship with all three of them is exactly the same right now as it is any other time of the year. They are more affectionate towards me at the moment. In bursts, they're actually waiting for their dinner at the moment, but Gambit is slightly more confident. If I wanted to take him out and introduce him to strangers, that's not something he normally really wants to do, but he's all right at this time of year doing it. I'm very grateful and have worked very hard, obviously, to make sure I have a relationship with these guys that means that the season doesn't really change anything for us here at home. It's not the case for everybody, and it really is bloodline dependent, and it really is dependent on the work and the time that you've put in with your dogs, and ultimately whether or not they have any sort of ancestral leniencies towards having extremes in terms of behaviour change. So the moral of the story, I guess, is that all dogs have seasonal behaviour changes, because when a dog comes into heat, not only any dog, this is, by the way, not just wolf dogs, any dogs, they will be flooded with sexual hormones, reproductive hormones, and they will have some effect on your dog's behaviour. Many owners will report that their females become more affectionate when they are in season, And people who own male dogs will say that their dogs will whine and cry, and entire males, this is, will whine and cry and really want to meet female dogs if there is a female dog around that is in season. So sit down, please. This is Gambit, who is a 5-year-old entire adult male. This is Eve, who is a 8-year-old entire adult female. That is Meg, who is a almost 2-year-old, still adolescent female really, but sexually now reproductive this winter. And they're all quite harmonious around me, around the family, generally around each other. Bit of silliness going on here, look. Eve's desperately trying to flirt with Gambit. I'm not sure he's overly really that impressed. Are you not impressed, Gammy Gummy? My new Crocs. So, to sum up, all dogs have seasonal behavioural changes, but not all dogs only have those seasonal changes in the winter, because a lot of dog breeds will come into their seasonal, which means reproductive, changes throughout the year, because they will come into season at different times. So winter wolf syndrome obviously is called so because wolf dogs, and particularly wolf dogs with more wolf ancestry, only come into season at this time of year, at the end of winter and the beginning of spring. So we get what we call winter wolf syndrome, but actually it's just the same seasonal behaviour change that we see in other breeds of dogs, in fact in most breeds of dogs, but it is heightened because A, it only happens once a year, and B, because bonding and mating and the ritual of reproduction is much more human-like in wolves and wolf dogs than it is perhaps in other breeds where the act of sex is simply perfunctory. It's not quite the same for wolf dogs. There is a courtship, there is some romance, and there is true pair bonding. As we all know, wolves will often pair for long periods of time, or if not for life. So we see, guys, you're so funny to watch. So we see that deeper connection, and that is all born from hormones, it's born from estrogen, it's born from testosterone, and it's what keeps family groups together and able to survive in harsh conditions. And it does obviously bring about behavioural changes. In most average dog breeds, so for example, your Labrador Retriever, you probably don't notice a lot. You might notice that your female is more affectionate or more needy, and you might notice that your male is whiny or pacey or looking a bit kind of restless if there's a female in season around, but that might be all that you would notice with that particular breed. In guardian breeds, so things like livestock guardians in particular, you would notice very similar levels of behavioural change, i.e. the boys becoming more confident and more assertive, trying to assert their dominance more over the females, and you would notice that the females become, well, very, very, very affectionate, perhaps more than they would be, because a lot of livestock guardian breeds aren't particularly people orientated throughout the rest of the year. So you would notice that in those breeds, and we notice it in a lot of ancient breeds, sight hounds, older working breeds as well, some of the mastiffs. We see quite a lot of seasonal behavioural change. The only reason, this is exactly the same thing in a wolf dog. It's been given the layman's term, I'm getting knocked over by these two, been given the layman's term winter wolf syndrome, simply because they are wolf dogs and it only happens in the winter. That's it. I'm not here to say that there aren't people that have had negative experiences with winter wolf syndrome. I am fully aware that this heightened period of excitement and flooding of hormones and testosterone and estrogen could obviously cause some unwanted behaviour changes, particularly with animals that aren't well bonded to humans. And you know, what can I say, guys? Choose your bloodlines carefully if you are interested in owning a wolf dog, because seasonal behaviour changes are real. Oh, we're going to get a little howl. Listen to this. That noise, that grumble, is Gambit desperately trying to assert some authority over these two girls. It's pretty hilarious. And it is not aimed at me, and it is not nasty in any way. It's him trying his best to control these kitty kitties, who are also trying to kiss him lots and lots. So, have I summed it up? I've summed up that all dogs have seasonal behaviour changes, some very, very mild, you may not even notice. Some breeds more than others, so the more ancient the breed, or certainly in a lot of the working breeds, particularly livestock guardians, they also have seasonal behaviour changes that are very, very similar to wolf dogs. And wolf dogs have seasonal behaviour changes just because they need this pairing and family bonding to be strong and intense to enable them to survive as a family group. But it doesn't have to be negative, guys. Winter wolf syndrome, the layman's term for seasonal behaviour changes in wolf dogs, does have a lot of negative connotations, and the reason for that is there are some that have had very intense experiences with it, and my advice is simply choose your bloodline extremely carefully. If you want to own a wolf dog, you make sure that you own a wolf dog that is multi-generation. So do your homework, guys. Make sure you own more wolf dogs that are multi-generational. I mean, you'd be very hard pushed to find anything in the world these days that isn't multi-generational, but that it's been bred that it's been bred. Oh my God, you guys are hilarious. Come on. That it's been bred very selectively, that you don't have dogs with particularly strong or certainly not aggressive seasonal behaviour changes, and you know, be smart, make sure you have a good bond with your animal. If you're going to interfere in, like here, a bonded pair's back end of a mating ritual basically is what you're seeing here, but you need to make sure that you're not getting involved in something with any dog in this environment where you don't know those dogs very well and that they don't know and trust you very well, of course. That would apply to livestock guardian breeds and ancient breeds and lots of working breeds as much as it applies to wolf dogs, because when a dog is at the peak of sexual reproduction, their behaviour will be different, no matter what kind of dog you really own. I hope that explains some things. I hope I've captured enough of the behaviour, what I'm trying to show you, where it's more vocal, it's more emotionally driven, it's more flirty. It's more based on bonding and pairing and dominance. I hope I've captured enough of that for you guys to really be able to see it, because I wanted to show you what it looks like with our dogs. I'm gonna have to call it a day because we are losing the light. We have a glorious sunset and the moon, a new moon. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a while since I made a video. I still have loads of editing to do. By the way, the white one is the female, so this behaviour, this silliness won't actually pay off. Poor Gambit, bless him. It won't get them anywhere, don't worry. There will not be any puppies from these guys. Sunset behind me, and I wanted to be able to show you in the height of the breeding season what it's truly like to live with these dogs with more wolf ancestry that have been selectively bred for multiple generations and carefully selected away from those more negative seasonal behaviours. But we still have seasonal behaviour, as you can tell. It's just not really negative. Certainly not for us. Take care. Tune in for the next one. Give us a thumbs up and give that a thumbs up. Eve will keep trying. And we will see you in the next one.